the activity that's taking place across the country with conscious Moors and other Europeans and other Asiatics who are conscious of birthright issues and are doing such things that are necessary to make themselves better citizens and securing their constitutionally secured unalienable rights. Right of travel, right of being unencumbered by those fake citizens, they're doing stuff to us. And some of these matters are failures on our part as conscious Moors for not carrying out what Noble Ali told us to carry out in the 1920s. Many of us are paying the price for that in these days and not understanding the value of that nationality card that is issued to you in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America. You are the only people that are walking around these union states, this society, that has a lawful nationality card. You must understand the power of it. Don't let anyone give you an instrument, again, and this is redundant, that has all capital letters and then demand specific services or performances from you through that instrument without you objecting. For the record, it is your interest to make all objections in written form, too. Limit Islam.
But also with the hyphen Bey, or do you then correct it fully before you deal with it?
The hyphen Bey, this is what you must understand. You got a triune principle in all learning systems. The triune principle is mother, father, son, belief, faith, and fruition. Until you come to fruition, you're not a Moorish scientist. It's not a rejection. It's not a put down. But you must become what you know. You must not be a professor of a thing without being professional at what you profess. Meaning that upon a challenge, if you can't defend what you claim you believe, you cannot know. It's not a rejection. But understand, at that point, then someone can steal your birthright without you objecting. And you will agree to it for a lack of knowledge. So if you don't know yourself, we all say, Drali says, Moors, come all ye Asiatics of North America and hear the truth about your nationality and your birthrights. That's the first rule that's given to you when you come into this movement. And it's one of the major rules in this movement that is violated by most Moors. Because upon a challenge, they can't defend it. They can repeat it. But in the real world, once we leave our family, we're family here. When you go out into the world, if you can't defend that, they will steal your birthright. And you won't even know it's happening most of the time, which is why a lot of the progress that Moorish Americans should have made generations ago has not manifested. A lot of the struggles that is sustained amongst Moorish Americans in these days should not exist. We're still receiving abuses from those citizens that should not be a part of our experience. We're not Negroes, blacks, coloreds, or Ethiopians. For those names were given to slaves by slaveholders, 1779. But those are chattel brands that distinguish what is known as natural persons from corporate persons. And so you must understand it's not just a historical fault, but Negro, black, and colored are tags that designate the difference between a natural person and an unnatural person. If you study the argument made before the courts and before the world governments by the White Camellia, Knights of Columbus, and the Ku Klux Klan, is the unnatural relationship between, quote unquote, the so-called Negro and the United States government, making that artificial person a citizen, which can't be done, not lawfully. But it was done to pretend or to feign a color of freedom and a color of a satisfaction of a debt for the removal of people in forced servitude from slaveholders with no compensation. So they created the artificial person that Noble Drew Ali said, he said the 13th to 14th Amendment is not necessary for the salvation of my people and the citizens. What is he telling you? That's the creation of the artificial person where they use fake law to legitimize Negro, black, and colored in order to solidify legal slavery within government. So if you don't reject Negro, black, and colored, you are agreeing again to the corporate person which requires a license. Are we understanding this? A license can be forced on a corporate person.
So if I have, my question is, if I haven't corrected my name, okay, I have my EO attached, I took care of that.
Now let's talk about this. And this is one of the reasons I did that article, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, because a lot of national Moors don't even know that Noble Drew Ali's name is Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. That's his free national name. Free national name. That means it's not encumbered with a label from the European families. They can't claim on him. However, you must know the person who you're dealing with. And so it's Noble Drew Ali, isn't it?
Right.
But his free national name is Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali. So when you come into the movement, the national claim is made on you as a signal to the rest of the government, and particularly those who have what they call vested hold on you or bond on you or lien against you, which is why you have the hyphen Bey, the hyphen eel. That's your first step. So the Prophet brings you in and he takes you 101, don't he? So 100% is 360 degrees, am I correct? But that one is taking you into that next cycle. And he gave you the questions and the answers, so you didn't really have to figure out anything. You need to study. Because we didn't know what to ask, less more what to answer. Because we didn't know what birthright was. Now let's go back. Drew Ali say, come all ye Asiatics of North America and hear the truth about, that's a qualification, your nationality and your birthrights. That statement is said because we clearly didn't know what these things encompassed, what relationship it has in society as a whole. Less more what it relates to us. We didn't even know to ask it. But when you begin to study nationality and birthrights, you begin to understand that civilization law comes from nations. And if you're not a part of a nation, you don't come under national or international law. Therefore, you're not recognized by the nations of the earth because law deals with interchange between natural people across the planet. Always has been. And they have governmental principles that are universal in their character. They're not unique to us necessarily. They are universal in their character. So when you deal with other nations, there are certain fundamental governmental principles that are universal that they expect from you when they communicate with you. And if you don't display a knowledge of them, you are in violation of government law and you are outside of law or an outlaw. And the citizens of whatever government you're in can do all kind of crap to you and get away with it. Are we understanding that? So it's important that the European put their family name on you to make it a legal process. Because name denotes possession. Name also denotes inheritance. And so what occurs with all these Asiatics? They've been doing all their business in European names. That means everything they own, the European already has a lawful lien against you from birth anyway, starting with that birth certificate that puts his name on your mother's act. Your mother gives you birth and the corporate state claims you. And then they put a lien against that certificate because it's used as a currency instrument. Now, when Drew Ali claimed you back, your first notice is that hyphen Bey. So they know you have now, and you must understand these are used as names tribal names, but they're actually titles of nobility. Bey and Eel and Ali are titles of nobility. The reason you don't use Ali because that's exalted. You earn that. There's also Al and Day. The activity that's taking place across the country with conscious Moors and other Europeans and other Asiatics who are conscious of birthright issues and are doing such things that are necessary to make themselves better citizens and securing their concept of that nationality card that is issued to you in the Moorish Holy Temple of Science and the Moorish Science Temple of America. You are the only people that are walking around these union states, this society that has are failures on our part as conscious Moors for not carrying out what Noble Drew Ali told us to carry out in the 1920s. Many of us are paying the price for that in these days and not understanding the value of a lawful nationality card. You must understand the power of it. Don't let anyone give you an instrument, again, and this is redundant, that has all constitutionally secured unalienable rights. Right of travel, right of being unencumbered by those fake citizens, they're doing stuff to us. And some of these matters